Stand at your back door the next time it comes down hard and just watch your roof for 1 minute. Watch the water come sheeting off the shingles, gather up in the gutter, run along to the downspout, and pour out the bottom onto the ground where it spreads into the grass and is gone into the dirt, gone down the drain, gone into the street. You will never see a drop of it again. And while you stand there watching it run off, somewhere inside your house, there's a meter ticking, counting out every gallon you buy back from the water company to pour on that very same grass come July. That water coming off your roof right now is clean, it is soft, it costs you nothing, and there is far more of it than you would ever guess. A plain, ordinary roof in a plain, ordinary rain is shedding hundreds of gallons in a single afternoon, and near every drop of it runs off into the ground and is wasted while folks go inside, turn on the tap, and pay for water out of a pipe. My name is Elias Yoder. I am Amish, and I farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. My family has caught the rain off our roofs for as long as there have been roofs standing on this farm, the same as near every farmhouse in this country did 100 years ago, back before a pipe ran to every door. Today, I'm going to show you how to catch that water, how to store it so it stays clean and sweet instead of going green and foul, and how to use it for your garden, for your animals, for your washing, and yes, with the right care, even for your drinking. And I am going to be honest with you the whole way through, the way I always am, because there is a deal of foolishness told about this, and I would rather you trust me than be impressed by me. Stay with me. Let me start with a number, because once you have this number in your head, you will never look at a rainstorm the same way again. Here is the rule, and it is simple enough that a child can hold it. Every single inch of rain that falls on every 1,000 square feet of roof gives you about 600 gallons of water. 600 gallons. From 1 inch of rain off a roof no bigger than a modest little house or a good-sized barn. Now think on that. A small shed roof, a chicken coop, a garage, call it a few hundred square feet. 1 inch of rain off that little roof is 100, 200 gallons. A house roof, a barn roof, in a year of ordinary weather sheds many thousands of gallons. The title of this video says 1,000 gallons a year, and I will tell you plainly, 1,000 gallons is the easy part. 1,000 gallons is what you catch off a little shed in a dry corner of the country. Most of you, off a real roof in real weather, will catch many times that, if only you have the tanks to hold it. The rain is not the thing in short supply. The thing in short supply is somewhere to put it. Let me work one out for you so you see how easy the figuring is. Say you have a house with a roof that covers 1,000 square feet, and most houses cover a good deal more than that. Say you live where it rains, 40 inches in a year, which is about the middle of the road for much of this country. 1,000 square feet, 40 inches of rain, 600 gallons for every inch. That is 24,000 gallons of water falling on your roof in a single year. 24,000 gallons running off into the ground. Now, you will never catch all of it because it does not rain on a schedule and your tanks will fill and run over in the wet months. But even if you catch a small share of it, you're catching thousands of gallons of free water. The 1,000 gallons in the title is the floor, not the ceiling. It is what you catch with one good tank and a little attention. Catch a great deal more if you have the room for it. Now, before I show you the build, let me give you the honest words up front, because I will not have you start this thinking it is something it is not. First, on whether you are even allowed. In most of this country, catching the rain off your own roof is perfectly legal. And in many a place, they will even encourage it and give you a little money toward it, because the rain you keep is rain that does not flood the storm drains. But there are a few states, mostly out in the dry West, where every drop of water is spoken for by law, that have had rules about how much you may catch and what you may do with it. Most of those rules have loosened in recent years, but I am not the law in your county, and I will not pretend to be. So before you put in a great big system, take 5 minutes and look up the rule where you live. For a barrel or two under your downspout, near nobody will ever say a word. For a big tank operation, just know your local rule first. Honest is better than sorry. Second, and this is the one that matters most for your health, the roof itself. The water is only ever as clean as what it runs across on the way down. A metal roof, a good tin or steel roof, is the very best thing there is to catch drinking water off of. It is smooth, it sheds clean, it does not crumble bits of itself into the water. That is why the old cabins and the old barns with their tin roofs are so well suited to this, and why I always tell folks a metal roof is a quiet blessing. An asphalt shingle roof, the common kind on most houses, sheds a little of its grit and its oils into the water, worst of all when it is new and when it is hot. You can absolutely catch off a shingle roof for your garden and your animals and your washing with no worry at all. But if you mean to drink it, a shingle roof wants more filtering and more care, and I will show you how. What you do not want to catch your drinking water off of is a roof with lead flashing or old lead-based paint, or one of those treated wood shake roofs with the chemicals worked into them, or gutters that were soldered up with lead. Those can put things in the water you cannot see and cannot boil out. Know your roof before you drink off of it. Now here is the beauty of the whole thing, and it is why this is the easiest water there is to catch. Your roof is already a giant funnel. You did not have to build it. It is already up there, already shedding every drop that lands on it down to its edges, already pouring all of it through your gutters and out 1 or 2 downspouts into the same few spots on the ground. Half the work is done before you lift a finger. You're not catching rain out of the open sky drop by drop. You're catching a river that your roof has already gathered and aimed at a single pipe. All you're doing is setting a barrel where the bucket already pours. That is the whole trick of it. So let us walk through the build piece by piece. The first piece you most likely already have, and that is the gutter and the downspout. Most every house and many a barn already has a gutter running along the low edge of the roof and a downspout carrying the water to the ground. If yours does, you are most of the way there already. If you have a building with no gutter, a shed, a coop, a barn, a length of gutter, and a downspout is a cheap and simple thing to hang, and the hardware store sells it in pieces that snap together. You want the gutter to run clean to the downspout with a little fall to it so the water keeps moving and does not sit. And you want a screen or a leaf guard over the top, because the great enemy of this whole business is the leaves and the muck and the bird droppings that gather on a roof and clog a gutter. The cleaner you keep the gutter, the cleaner your water, and a simple screen over the top saves you a world of trouble. The second piece is the one that near everybody leaves out, and it is the very difference between clean water and foul water. It is called the first flush diverter. Let me tell you why you need it, because once you understand it, you will never skip it. Between the rains, your roof gathers things: dust, pollen, soot, bird droppings, a dead leaf, a bit of grit. It all sits up there drying in the sun. Then the rain comes, and the very first water off that roof, that first hard rush, washes all of that filth down the downspout. That first dirty water is the foulest water of the whole storm, and you do not want it in your tank. The first flush diverter is a simple thing that catches and throws away that first dirty rush and only lets the clean water that comes after flow on into your storage. And it is wonderfully simple to build. It is nothing but a length of pipe standing up beside your downspout, capped at the bottom with the water led into the top of it. When the rain starts, that standing pipe fills up first with the dirty first flush. And once it is full, the water has nowhere left to go but on past it into your tank. And by then, the dirty water is caught and held in the pipe, and the water flowing past it is the clean water. Many folks drop a little floating ball down inside that pipe so that as it fills, the ball rises up and seals off the top once it is full, and not another drop of the dirty water can get through. Down at the bottom of the standing pipe, you leave a tiny hole or a little dripping valve so that after the storm, the dirty water slowly drains itself out onto the ground and the pipe sits empty and ready for the next rain. A few dollars of pipe and a cap. The rule of thumb the old hands use is to throw away the first 10 gallons or so for every 1,000 square feet of roof, more if the roof has been gathering filth through a long dry spell. That first flush diverter is the single most important cheap part in the whole system. Skip it and your water goes foul. Put it in and your water stays sweet. The third piece is where you keep it, the storage, and here you have a choice to make about how serious you mean to be. The simplest thing, the thing anybody can do this very weekend, is a rain barrel, a single food-grade barrel, 50 or 55 gallons, set right under your downspout. You can buy one made up for the purpose, or you can take a clean food-grade plastic drum, one that held food, mind you, not chemicals, and make your own. 50 gallons does not sound like much, but 50 gallons of free water on your garden through a dry week is a real blessing, and one good rain will fill it in minutes. One barrel is the whole hobby for a lot of folks, and it is a fine place to start. But if you want to catch real water, the kind that carries a garden through a drought, or waters your animals, or supplies a small home, you want the bigger tanks. The workhorse of this whole business is what they call an IBC tote, a great square plastic tank held in a metal cage. It holds about 275 gallons, and you can buy them used for around $100 to $150 a piece if you find the right fellow selling them. Get the ones that held food, syrup, juice, food grade things, and never one that held a chemical, because you cannot scrub a poison back out of plastic once it has soaked in. Set one of those under your downspout, or set 2 or 3 of them in a row, plumbed together so they fill one after the next, and now you're holding 500, 800, 1,000 gallons of free water against the dry months. That is water for the garden all summer. That is water for the chickens and the goats. That is water that does not come from a pipe and does not send a bill. Now, 3 things matter a great deal about your tank, and folks get every one of them wrong, so hear me close. The first is light. Light is what grows the green algae in standing water. A clear tank or a white tank sitting out in the sun will go green and slimy in a week. So your tank wants to be dark, a dark colored tank, or one wrapped, shaded, or set inside a shed where the sun cannot reach it. Keep the light out and the water stays clear and sweet. Light is the enemy. The second is the mosquito. Standing water in the warm months is where the mosquito lays her eggs, and an open tank becomes a mosquito nursery that breeds misery for you and for the whole neighborhood. So every opening on that tank, the inlet where the water comes in, the overflow, every last hole gets a fine screen across it, fine enough that not even a mosquito can creep through. Seal it and screen it, and you will never raise a single one. Ooh. The third is the overflow, and folks forget this until the day it bites them. A tank fills, and then the rain keeps right on coming, and that extra water has to go somewhere. If you have not planned for it, it backs up your downspout or pours over the top and runs straight down against your foundation, which is the very last place on earth you want water sitting. So you put an overflow outlet near the top of the tank, a pipe that takes the extra once the tank is full and carries it well away from the building, out into the yard, into the garden, into a low spot where it does some good. Screen that overflow too against the mosquitoes. Done right, the tank fills to the brim, and every drop after that is led away safe. Done wrong, you have water in your cellar, so lead the overflow away from the house, always. And if you ever want to go the whole way, the way the grand old houses did, there is the cistern. A great tank built down into the ground or into the cellar of stone or concrete, or a big buried plastic tank holding thousands of gallons down where the cold cannot freeze it and the light cannot green it. A buried cistern is more work and more money to put in, and it is not where I would have a beginner start, but it is the old gold standard, and a family with a good cistern fed by the gutters has water through any drought and any winter. Start with the barrel, grow to the totes. And if this ever becomes a way of life for you, the cistern is there waiting at the end of the road. Now, Getting the water back out is the easy part, and here is a small piece of old wisdom. Let the height do the work for you. Water wants to run downhill, and if you set your tank up on a stand on some good solid blocks or a sturdy platform, then a spigot down at the bottom will give you water with a bit of pressure to it, enough to run a hose out to the garden with no pump at all. Just the weight of the water itself doing the pushing. The higher you set the tank, the more push you get. Every foot you raise it gives you a little more pressure at the spigot. Set it up high and gravity waters your garden for free. No electricity, no pump, the same as it has been done for 1,000 years. Just be sure your stand is good and strong because water is heavy. A single gallon weighs better than 8 pounds and a full tote weighs more than a ton. So build the stand stout, set it on firm level ground and let the height do your pumping for you. So now you have it, clean rain, caught and stored. What do you do with it? Well, for a great many uses, you do nothing more at all. For watering your garden and your flower beds, rainwater straight from the tank is not just fine. It is better than the water from your tap. It is soft, it carries no chlorine and no chemicals, and growing things love it. Your plants will come up greener on rainwater than on tap water, and any gardener who has tried both will tell you the same. For your animals, the chickens and the goats and the dog, clean screen rainwater from a clean tank is good water. For washing, washing the truck, washing tools, washing your hands at an outdoor basin, flushing a toilet, rainwater does the job and saves the costly treated water for where you truly need it. A family that puts even half its outdoor water and its washing water onto caught rain has cut a fair piece off the bill and off its need for the pipe. But now let me speak to the drinking because I know it is the question sitting in your mind, and I will give you the honest and careful answer because this is where care matters most. Can you drink rainwater off your roof? Yes, people have done it for all of history, and a great many folks in this country and around the world drink nothing else to this very day. But you do not drink it straight from the tank and trust it, the same as I told you about the water caught from the air. You clean it first, always in 2 steps. First, you filter it to take out the grit and the fine dirt and much of what you cannot see. The simple way, the cheap way, is the same layered filter I have shown you before. A container packed with a wad of clean cloth, then a good layer of activated charcoal, the kind from the pet store, then clean fine sand, then more cloth on top, and you pour the water through slow and let it drip out the bottom clean. The charcoal is the heart of it. It pulls out the smells and much of what fouls the water. Or you buy a proper drinking water filter made up for the purpose. And there are good ones now that are not dear. Either way, you filter first. Then, to be truly safe, especially if there are children drinking it or anyone whose health is delicate, you finish it by killing whatever a filter cannot catch, the tiny living things. The surest old way is to boil it, a good rolling boil for a few minutes, and that kills what no filter can. Filter it, then boil it, and you have water as clean as any that ever came from a tap, very likely cleaner because it never ran through 100 miles of old pipe to reach you. Filter, then boil. Do not skip that step out of laziness when it is for drinking. Free water is a blessing, but only if it does not make your family sick. Now, I owe you the honest limits, the things the breathless videos skip, because I will not have you build this and then be caught out. The first is winter. Water freezes, and a tank full of water that freezes solid will crack and split itself wide open, and your gutters and your pipes along with it. So in the cold country where the hard freeze comes, you do not leave your system full of water through the deep winter. You drain your barrels and your tanks and your first flush pipe down before the hard freeze, and you let them sit empty until the thaw. Or, if you mean to catch water clear through the winter, you bury your tank below the frost line where the ground keeps it from freezing, or you set it in a cellar or a heated space, and that is more work and more cost. For most folks, the simple way is to catch the rain through the warm months when you want it for the garden anyway, and drain it down for the winter. Know your climate and plan for the freeze. The second honest limit is simply this: How much you catch depends on how much it rains where you live and how big your roof is. And I have given you the number to figure it. A man in the rainy parts of the country with a big roof will catch more than he can hold. A man in the dry country with a small roof will catch less and will treasure every gallon of it. Both can do this. Both should do this. But build your tanks to match your own rain and your own roof, not to match a number you saw on the internet. Figure your roof, figure your rainfall, and size it to what you will actually catch. And the third small thing, keep it up. Clean your gutters, clean your screens, empty your first flush, look in now and again for mosquitoes, and scrub your tank out once a year. It is not much work, an hour here and an hour there, but a system left to go to ruin will give you foul water, and a system kept up will give you sweet water for a lifetime. A little tending is the price of it, and it is a small price. And this is no new idea, no clever trick somebody dreamed up last year. Catching the rain off a roof is one of the oldest things people do with a building. They were doing it in the dry lands of the old world thousands of years ago, digging great stone cisterns beneath whole cities to hold the winter rains through the dry summer. There are cisterns under old churches and old farmhouses in this very country that have held rainwater for 200 years and more. The grand old houses were often built with a cistern in the cellar as a plain matter of course, fed by the gutters, because that was simply how a sensible house was made before the water main came down the street. The knowledge is old, and it is spread all over the world among every people who ever had to be clever about water. It did not die. It just got set up on a high shelf and forgotten when the tap came, and the tap was easy and somebody else was handling it. Now, I want to take a moment because this is the part that matters, and it is bigger than gutters and barrels. Think about what water is, and think about how strange it is that we pay for it at all. The rain falls free from the sky onto your own roof, on your own land, more of it in a single storm than your family could drink in a month. It has always fallen there. It falls there now, and most folks let every drop of it run off into the drain and then turn around and buy water back from a company, water that has been pumped and treated and pushed through miles of pipe, and pay for every gallon of it every month for as long as they own the house. How did it come to be that a man pays for the rain that falls on his own roof? Now, I will not tell you there is a villain in a back room somewhere who banned the rain barrel, because that is not quite the truth of it. It is quieter than that, and almost worse. There is simply no money in a barrel under your downspout. A man who catches his own rain and waters his garden and his animals from his own tank buys less from the water company, and the water company would far rather he buy more. Nobody can sell you a monthly bill for the rain. Nobody can put a brand on the storm. There is no salesman whose living depends on you catching your own water, so there is no advertisement for it, no commercial, nobody knocking on your door to tell you that the water you need is already falling free on your roof. And so a thing every farmhouse in this country once knew how to do has been quietly forgotten, not because it stopped working, it works as well today as it ever did, but because there was no profit in remembering it. My people never forgot, because we never gave ourselves over to the pipe and the bill in the first place. A cistern under the house, a barrel at the downspout, a tank by the barn, these were just part of how a place was built. A family that catches its own water cannot be put in a corner. The price of water could double and it would not touch them. The pipe could run dry in a drought. The restrictions could come down, no watering the garden, no filling the trough, and the family with 1,000 gallons of caught rain sitting in the tank waters its garden just the same and owes no one an explanation. That is not about saving a few dollars on the bill, though it does that too. That is about a kind of freedom. A family that can catch its own water from the sky that falls free on its own roof is a family that is harder to put in a corner. That is the whole of it. So here is what I want you to do, and you can start this very weekend small. Go out the next time it rains and just watch your downspout for a minute and see in your mind the water you are letting run away. then get yourself one barrel, one food grade barrel, 50 gallons, and set it into your downspout with a screen over the top against the leaves and the mosquitoes. That is the whole start. Catch one barrel of rain and use it on your garden. And once you have seen how fast it fills and how green your plants come up on that soft, free water, you will want a second barrel and then a tote and then a row of them. Build it one barrel at a time, the way every good thing is built. And before the hard freeze comes, drain it down and let it rest till spring. Tell me in the comments below, how much rain do you get where you live? And what kind of roof do you have over your head, metal or shingle? Because the more of you who say where you are and what you catch, the more all of us learn what works in what country. And if you already catch the rain, tell the beginners the one thing you wish you had known when you started, the mistake you made, the part you would do different. I read every single one of these, and the help you all give one another in those comments is the best part of this whole thing. Next time, since we have been speaking of catching water, I'm going to show you the old way my family stores that water so it keeps sweet and clean for months on end without going stale or growing anything. The cool, the dark, the covered cistern, and the lime-washed crock, the way water was kept in every farmhouse before there was a tap. It is the natural next step after today because catching the water is one half of the work and keeping it good is the other. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Until then, go and watch your roof in the next good rain, put a barrel into your downspout, waste nothing that falls free from the sky, and remember, the people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.